individual market national sales training as the individual team promised. We're going to continue to have keynote speakers. So today we have Rich Walus with us, the my Chicago brother, my brother from another mother in Chi-Town, my love. It's we got to be careful. Not everybody understands our accent, Rich. So, you know, do we want to clear the air and build some rapport and let them know how a hot dog should be eaten?
With no ketchup.
Do we put ketchup on a hot dog in Chicago?
No.
Hell no. Hell no.
Don't do it.
If you eat a hot dog with ketchup, we still love you. You're just doing it the wrong way. All right? You get to Chicago, Portillo's is where you want to go. So if you're bored and you're locked in your home, go to Portillo's.
They deliver.
Portillo's, Portillos. I get no brownie points for this. And order yourself some a beef.
The big beef.
Italian beef, a hot dog. And they have an amazing, what is it, a fudge? Rich, what is it?
Chocolate cake.
Lord, it's like a triple decker chocolate cake. Maybe we'll run a contest here for the person with 15 presentations gets a Portillo's hot dog. And if you're a vegetarian, you'll get a virtual hug from me. That's what we'll do. No, if they're a vegetarian, they could do the chocolate cake, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, Rich, you've been with us. I can tell you, I know Rich pretty well. Both Rich and I actually came out of the same agency at American Income, out of the Olson agency out of Chicago, and he ran the quality department on that end. Did such a great job over there that I think you were qualifying for convention on raw quality business, right? Like just picking up business that people didn't write.
Correct. Yeah, conserving business. Yep.
So how much business would you write per year, AP wise? Now, guys, this is business written on lapsed business. So this is business that somebody wrote, didn't follow through, didn't solidify, was a wham bam thinky man, and then they said, Rich, here, go ahead and fix this. How much did you write on any given year?
About 150,000 was my average.
150,000, figure this out, Fredo. $150,000 of annualized premium is what Rich was writing. So he did such a good job that Mike and Steve DiChiaro realized, oh, Terry, you're sharing your screen again, hon. There you go. All right. So what we want to do, so trying to throw me off, but between the Portillo's and the sharing the screen, you can't throw me off. It's not my first rodeo. So Rich did such a great job that Steve DiChiaro and Mike Sheets said, listen, brother, you got to come over here and guide the way, and has done a really, really good job. Has been shattering records when it comes to quality. And listen, your title is quality and profit. What got my attention when I was in the field was profit. You know, I don't want to steal from Rich's thunder, but the importance of what we do is what you keep, not what you make. All right, what you keep, not what you make. And so I know Rich is going to have a tremendous amount of information. We've got 162 people on this call. You know, we shattered it with Steve at about 430 people. That's still pretty good. We'll see if Mike Sheets can be 163 on Friday. And then tomorrow, guys, just a little plug. We are going to have Denise Lane from the Marvin Odell Agency that's going to be sharing with us her recent success in the field. She's written close to $24,000 of business in the last 2 weeks of production. Awesome. So, you know, in a time where people said, you know, it can't be done, and she's out there getting it done. So that'll be tomorrow. At 4 p.m. after this call, I would recommend taking a lot of notes. If you're not making calls or presenting this afternoon, I've asked Rich for a favor, and he's going to be on our 4 p.m. call later today, Central Standard Time, where he's going to be addressing any questions. So we'll take a few questions if there's time here via chat. But if you want more specific role play, if you want more specific, just off the cuff locker room, Rich will be at our 4 o'clock session this afternoon. Okay, so write down a lot of notes, guys. Rich, I consider Rich a very good friend of mine. Not that he's from Chicago or from the same agency that I came out of, but because he really does care. He really does care, and he's just a great guy. So, Rich, thank you for being on. I'm going to put myself on mute for maybe 2 minutes. I'm sure I'll interject somewhere. And so, without further ado, our very own prophet, Mr. Rich Walus, take it away, my brother.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it, and thank you for the warm introduction. To Chris's point, this is all about you guys writing good quality business so that you can, get the maximum pay on this in terms of your renewals for the future. I was just joking with Philip a few minutes ago before you guys came on about our renewals hitting on the 13th business day from work that I did, almost over a decade ago. I started in the business back in 2004. So, earning renewals for the last however many years it's been now is just a wonderful thing, but it's got to be done the right way. And it all starts with taking the application down correctly. So whether you're in the individual market or you're an agent from worksite looking to join the individual market and do some individual applications, I highly suggest you take down great notes in this session. It'll be recorded so you guys can use it for further replay down the road. And we'll have a Q&A session. Hopefully we can get to some of your questions today. If not, we'll get to them later on at the 4 o'clock session. Okay? Let me go ahead and share my screen with you. All right. So if you guys have any questions that you guys want me to answer off camera or anything like that, go ahead and email me at rawalus@livnet.com or text me at 214-620-7379. Should take about 30 minutes for this session, guys. So as time permits, we'll try to get to as much as we can. So if we run short, I'm sure me and Chris will, touch base and do another one of these down the road as well. Okay? Have a sheet of paper ready and take down some notes. All right? The purpose of this, guys, is to better understand what an A250 application is, and for those in the worksite market to understand the difference from group term and overall the federal guidelines and best practices for you. Okay? The key thing to understand is which items to include as it pertains to the A250 and to make sure you're writing the correct application on the applicant. Writing the wrong application can cause your proposed insured to not obtain the policy discussed, and you want to maximize your quality and pay by having a great DCN and persistency and the ability to enjoy long-term renewals. The primary difference, guys, in terms of the A250 and a worksite application is just the sheer amount of questions that have to be answered. On the group term, for instance, there's 9 questions. On the A250, there's 32 health questions that have to be answered yes or no to. The other difference there is that we submit an A250 application to the home office, and that gets reviewed by an underwriter for review prior to issue, where all our applications are considered batch apps, and those go through the home office through a computer screen and get issued the following day. So there's a big difference there in terms of the underwriting process, probably more similarities than differences, but just the sheer amount of questions is something that you want to be mindful of. Okay? I want to give you guys a resource for you to be able to utilize for the future, and that is the Agent's Instruction Guide. There is a hyperlink on the Quality tab on Agent Services. All right, Quality tab here, hyperlink here for Agent Instruction Guide. This gives you so many different things that you can utilize for your questions and answers that you might already have. This will give you some guidance about height and weight charts, about different things in terms of when a paramed exam is needed or an oral specimen test is needed. Obviously, taking virtual applications is different. But again, that's going to give you a great resource for the future. The Agent's Instruction Guide is the underwriting handbook, if you will. So you have to look at yourself as a field underwriter, okay? Meaning that the questions that you're asking have to be asked verbatim in order to get the best possible answer from the applicant. It includes the height and weight chart, auto decline conditions, which we'll go over in a minute, ALX only conditions, which we'll go over in a minute as well, the medical history guide with general underwriting outcomes for specific medical conditions, okay? And then please be sure to reference the instruction guide to help you with common questions that you might have, all right? The instruction guide also gives you rules for personal business, such as family members that you write, and what you have to do prior to submitting that application so that you do not receive any adverse violations from the company, and then have to explain your action to be paid properly, okay? It also gives details on who can sign an application, such as in the case of grandparents for grandchildren and parents for kids. You may have additional questions regarding citizenship or guardianship, and that's also outlined in the agent's instruction guide as to what supporting documentation you might need, okay? Let's go ahead and take a look at the H-250 application itself and navigate the best practices. All right, so the basics, guys. Obviously, you might think that you want to overlook the basics, but it's so crucial to make sure you answer everything correctly, so you don't want to make a mistake and look unprofessional. So just the basic stuff, guys. Obviously, the first set of things here is the name of the proposed insured must be spelled correctly. Pretty simple. The first name, middle initial, and surname must be shown unless the person is known by his or her middle name, in which case the first initial and middle name should be shown in an example. So in that first example here, we have John H. Jones or J. Henry Jones, all right, or J. B. Smith, and then in parentheses initial name, or John Nunn Jones. Again, this is pretty simple, basic stuff. Just make sure you're documenting the person's name correctly, for what I'm getting at. All right, that's pretty much the proposed insured first, last, and then the middle initial. Then you have your date of birth, your age, and your birthplace. And we'll go through an H-250 application together once I'm done with this presentation here, just so I can show you how to obviously enter all this data in if you're unfamiliar with it. So the proposed insured is obviously just numeric 1/10/1989. The proposed insured's age, the last birth date will show up for you, and then obviously where they were born in terms of either country or state. All right. In terms of their height and their weight, if the proposed insured does not fall within the standard weight limits shown on the chart, the proposed insured will be rated, okay? Rating means that the proposed insured would be charged additional premium for not falling within the standard weight guidelines for their height, sex, and age. All right, we'll review that in a second. So if you're performing the application in person, that's one thing. You can physically see the person and the numbers. If they don't match up, obviously you can address that accordingly. I understand that's not a comfortable thing to do. Obviously, if you're in person, you can tell if the person's telling you they're 150, but they're taking 2 seats at the kitchen table. That's going to be a cause for concern, right? They're not 150 at that point. So doing it virtually, they'll just ask the question and make sure they understand that if they aren't truthful about their answers, they're going to have a QAC call to make sure that we have the correct height and weight, okay? So let's go ahead and review the build weight chart together, all right? Looking at this thing left to right, if you guys can see my screen, the first one there is 4'8", 56 inches. The average weight for that height should be between 83 to 171 pounds. If they are over 171 pounds, they'll go to being a rating, okay? So from 171 to 172, they're gonna fall into this table B rating. The higher you go on the chart, the larger the rating is going to be, okay? So again, you have to be mindful of this when they're asking that question, because it's going to be part of the rating. So if you go higher here, the higher you go, the more money it's going to be, all right? If we look at an example, let's just call it the person's 5'5" tall, right? So this line here, and let's say they're 250 pounds, they'll be rated at table D. The one thing I wanted to notate about table D is it typically stands for double. So let's just say in our example of 5'5", 250, the person is paying $50 a month. That premium would now be $100 a month, okay? So if we use that same example and the person is 5'5", 286, again, follow your line here, 5'5", 286, higher in the chart. The best case scenario we have here is the person's going to be a decline or an ALX only, all right? So again, this is very important for you to utilize. I mean, obviously, this is the first couple of questions on the app, right? Is their height and their weight. So again, this plays an important factor, even though it's a very simple and basic question, plays an important factor in how the underwriters look at this to see if there's going to be a rating on this person, all right? The other reason table ratings are equally important is because knowing that a policy premium will be double, as in our example earlier, will help you preempt the applicant of the possibility of a rating, and that will help when it comes back COD for the additional premium. Some of you might ask, what is COD? That means collect on delivery, okay? That means the person is going to pay more for their policy than what you quoted them. never leave that to chance, especially when health conditions are disclosed to you up front. And obviously, we can go ahead and adjust that accordingly in terms of their face value to incorporate the rating accordingly, okay? Additionally, the higher they are in the height and weight chart for being overweight, that will typically lead to higher health risks such as high blood pressure or diabetes. And again, those are possibly other factors where you might have to pivot to an ALX, all right? My recommendation would be to submit anyone not within the standard weight charts as a trial application, because you never know what other health risks might arise, and you don't have that information readily available to you with their doctor's records. So again, err on the side of caution and put that policy through as a trial. That way, when it comes back with a rating, you might be able to place that with that rating amount already attached.
Hey, Rich.
Yes.
Can you repeat that again? Because I'm sure this recording is going to be utilized in many trainings to come when it comes to virtual training. And so can you just repeat that again? Anyone above ... And guys, here's the thing. If you follow Omar's suggestion, which is 15 presentations a week, okay? Some will, some won't, so what next? Like, I truly believe as an ex-agent, because I've done this, and some of you I've worked with on this call as partners and some in the field, and so I've been there, okay? So I'm talking as an agent now. I have submitted cases in the past that I wish I never would have. And the only reason I did, and I'm not saying you're doing this, I'm calling myself out on this one, right? Only reason I submitted it back in the day is because I didn't have enough business coming in. I didn't have enough activity. There's two halves to our individual deal, right? You've got you got your Monday after 3, and then you've got your Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Right. And so what happened is, because I didn't have enough activity on the front end, I wrote a piece of business or 2 pieces of business. And now because I'm a business owner and need cash flow, I submitted it when I knew in my heart of hearts it was a 50-50 shot. And so, if that activity is where it needs to be, you'll never have to worry about quality. So it's always a quantity issue. People ask me, well, Chris, what do you want, quantity or quality? Which do you want first? I want both. I want quantity and quality. So, Rich, repeat that section, that you just said, because I think that's super important. And I don't want people to miss that portion. And guys, keep the questions coming, because as we finish, we'll address some of those individually. Okay. So just repeat that for me, please.
Sure thing. So my recommendation would be to submit anyone not within the standard weight limits as a trial application, because again, as we get heavier, myself included, I'm a little heavier. I know that there's a possibility for me to have higher health risks, such as high blood pressure or diabetes down the road. So people usually don't get healthier as they get heavier. Usually it goes the opposite direction. Same thing with age, right? As we get older, we don't tend to get healthier. We tend to get more unhealthy. So submit the policy through as a trial if they are not of standard weight on the weight chart. Okay. All right. Okay. Moving on. Next is some more basic information, guys, such as, person's driver's license number, social security number, employer's name, occupation and duties, residency address, beneficiary, contingent beneficiary, and owner. So this first one here, guys, when it comes to, the driver's license, make sure that you put down the correct driver's license, right? You guys know what your state is. In Illinois, it goes last, the initial, and the numbers. So I know that if I was looking at an Illinois application, I should expect the driver's license to be somebody's initial or letter, I should say, plus followed by numbers. Whereas the state IDs in Illinois are reversed. It's numbers and then a letter. So again, make sure you are aware of what your state's driver's license looks like, right? The state that your applicant's in, to way you make sure you understand that that's how the license should look being input into the application. Does that make sense? And the other part to this, guys, is, this underwriting when it comes to the A250 is not just about the health questions, not just about their health history, but also about their habits. So stop and think about your driver's license for a minute. If you are Mario Andretti and you have a lead foot and you get a lot of speeding tickets, that could impact the motor vehicle records of that person, which would then impact the person's ability to get a policy or become rated also. So it's not just health, it's also habits. Make sure you're aware of that. So if the person doesn't have a license, I'll ask the follow-up question of why don't they have a license? Or is it suspended for DUIs? Is it because of speeding tickets? Is it because of accidents? Obviously, there's a lot of follow-up questions you can ask at that point. Okay. Again, if they don't have a license, ask why, and then make sure you document that accordingly. Social Security number. Again, just put down the Social Security number. List the person's employer status in terms of where they work and what they do for employer name and duties. All right. If they're retired or disabled, please indicate that in this area as well. Think about that for a second when it comes to quality. If the person is disabled, I'd imagine that some of the health questions that we're going to go through in the next few sections should be answered yes, or that they're taking medication at that point if they're disabled, right? If they're retired, again, that's another thing. How much can they afford? That's always about need. Don't get me wrong, I love the fact it's always about need, but it's got to be affordable also, and we'll address that in a little bit as well. So when it comes to the employer's name and duties, if you're a QM and you're on this webinar, the Zoom call rather, you have to remember, what is this person making? Can they afford this policy? Does it make sense? Would you sell a janitor a $100 a month policy if they're only making $8 an hour? I would hope everyone in this call would understand that's probably not within the reason, right? If they have other obligations, then that probably isn't affordable for them, right? Would I sell that person a $200-300 a month policy? Probably not. If it's regarding their need and they can prove it to me, I understand that. But again, making sure that you understand what the person does for a living and approximately how much they make to make sure it's affordable for them. Okay?
So Rich.
Yes, sir.
I just want to interject because there's a lot of good questions coming through. The most important piece to think about when you're writing a piece of business, okay, is just like we do in the beginning part, lean on the process, right? Lean on the process. And so I'm not saying don't submit business. What I'm saying is just have a conscious, keep it on the forefront of when you're writing business. If something seems illogical, it's the best advice that I was given in life. If something seems illogical, okay, don't try to make that illogical application logical. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if there's like 7 different medications, heavy, heavier on the weight side, smoker, whatever, like that. I mean, like just those are some red flags. So, most of us don't have a problem. Most of us are going to go on and we're going to conduct business as usual. So don't pivot 180 degrees the other way and be freaked out over like, oh my God, you have to be careful what I'm submitting. No. We're still submitting business. Relax. Just be conscious of it. Just this is just another repertoire. Take a deep breath. And listen, I love the questions coming through. It's clear we're gonna have people on a 4 o'clock call because there's gonna be some hardcore questions that need to be addressed at 4 o'clock. But man, just all I'm saying is just be conscious and be aware that if something seems illogical at a grand, then don't. But also, we're field underwriters, but we're not underwriters. We're not senior underwriters in McKinney, right? So long as it passes our sniff test, we're good to go. So does that make sense, everybody? So don't pivot 180 degrees where it's got to be a perfect application to send through. Yeah. Kind of, if that makes any sense. Rich, you follow what I'm saying?
Of course.
I don't want people freaked out. I want you educated. I don't want you freaked out.
Just be mindful, like Chris said, be mindful of it.
Just be mindful.
You're so excited about the sale. Don't get me wrong. I love that part too. I've been there, done that, right? The adrenaline's rushing through you. You're excited about the sale. But again, I understand that, I want to drive a Bentley, and that's nice, but maybe I can't afford it. But I can afford a car with 4 wheels and brakes. Maybe it's not a Bentley title, but I can still afford the car. right? Same thing applies here, guys. Making sure they're just mindful of the sale. You know,
Remember,
I'm not saying.
you know, remember, the more presentations you give per week, the stronger that you can be with your, you know, with your, Rich, does that make sense?
Yes.
I'm not saying the stronger that you're going to be able to choose of what you're going to upload and what you're not going to upload, but by the law of large numbers, you're going to have more healthy people than unhealthy people. That's all. That's all.
Yep.
And to me, the underwriting piece of what we do is super, super, super strong because we truly are taking it away. See, I think most people in life think that, oh, well, if I can afford a life policy, or, you know, I'll just go ahead and call someone and get me some life insurance. It doesn't work that way. You know, we talk about, we'll go ahead and, you know, review, make sure that we deliver the no cost benefits that you're entitled to. And then we'll go ahead and see if there's any additional benefits that you may qualify for. That's in our script, that you may qualify for. This is the may qualify for part. I choose to look at this as a victor versus a victim because I can now hedge my conversation. I can now posture my conversations and pivot in situations where, hey, oh, relax. You know, I don't even know if I can take care of you. I love that part. I love that part because all of a sudden now you're taking it away from them. Of course, Rich, I always bring it back to
They want it.
I always bring it back to sales. Now that you're taking it away from them, they're like, wait a second, whoa, 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 now I want it. Now I want it. You're saying I can't have it, now I want it. So it's just, you know, again, education. This is just education. So.
Yep. And remember, guys, you know, I'm trying to put in 16 years of knowledge to you in like 30 to 45-minute span. This is not going to, you know, just be a one Zoom call thing. We're going to do more of these things because, you know, I thought about the number yesterday before this call, you know, that I reviewed about 200,000 applications in my 15 years as a QM. So this is not like you're going to learn, if you're a quality manager or even an agent in this brand new in this marketplace, you know, it's going to take some time. It's about education. It's about getting to be comfortable with it. But again, I can look at an application right now and tell you in pretty you know, honest terms and with pretty precise you know, history and knowledge that what it might come back as. You know, I'm not the underwriter who makes that call, neither are you, but looking at so many applications, I can tell you that it might come back with a rating. I can even probably, you know, tell you what it might come back and what table rating it might come back as. So again, being knowledgeable is the most important thing here. So like to Chris's point, this is an education piece. Don't be fearful of what I'm telling you guys. It's not about causing fear for you. Just be mindful of it, and you'll get through this with no problems. So the rest of this stuff is pretty basic here, guys. Obviously getting the resident address, beneficiary name, contingent beneficiary, and the owner. That's pretty self-explanatory. We'll go through the base plans here. We're going to choose a whole life policy in a minute, along with ADB and premium waiver, and I'll show you what that looks like on the A250 application in CE3. Okay. Here are the health questions, and obviously there's a lot of them. There's 32 questions all together. If anything is under 100,000, then you need from questions 15 to 28. Anything over 100,000 in terms of face amount, you'll answer questions 29 to 31. And we'll go through these questions together in here just a second. I want you to actually ask the questions verbatim and get the best possible answer. Meaning that you know, if you don't know what something means, guys, like, you know, let's see here, you know, musculoskeletal disorders or anything else on this list here in terms of questions, Google it. It's very simple, right? If you don't know a medication that someone answers yes to, Google it and make sure that it applies, okay? So let's see my notes here. All right. Okay. All right. So let's actually go ahead and let me go ahead and pivot to the CE3 screen and actually go through one of these with you guys. All right. Give me 1 second here. Let me go back one here. Sorry about that. Okay. Let me move this out of the way. And let me go into here. I'm going to skip the presentation, obviously. Okay. So let me go over here. Yeah, man. Sorry for the delay. This was working just a second ago. Yeah, man. Yeah. Okay. Give me 1 second. Let me unshare my screen so I can log in for you guys. Bear with me just 1 second. Sorry about that. Chris, do you want to just pivot to something else real quickly while I
Yep.
get logged back in?
So you'll be able to do two things at once as you pull that up. I'm getting a lot of questions about weight. Okay.
Yep.
Do we or do we not submit trials on height and weight? Somebody asked a question on, whether somebody is out of shape or in shape. That's subjective in nature to a certain extent, but from an objective perspective, I guess do you submit a trial based on height, weight? Let's say they're not smokers, they're not on any kind of medication, fairly young, whatever, late 40s, mid 40s. I'm 43, so I'm saying, let's say someone's really young, like he's 43, like he's super young, and height, weight. All right, so do you submit that as a trial? Do you submit that as do you just submit that regular? What do you do?
So it depends on where they fall on the weight chart, right? So if you're, like in that first example, if you're 4'8" and you're a tad bit shy on the weight chart in that first table rating, you could probably go ahead and get that submitted standard. But if it's anything, getting closer to that table D marker, you're going to be paying double.
Table D or B?
D as in dog. D stands for double.
There's your answer. If somebody's table D as in dog, if somebody's table D or higher, that's probably a what, Rich?
A trial application.
What's the percentage of that one getting underwritten?
They still get underwritten because we can always pivot to an ALX, right? If that's the case, they won't necessarily get declined. But just remember, if they're a table D and it stands for double, that means can they afford, instead of $50 a month, can they afford $100 a month? And that, again, is setting the expectation, setting the bar with the customer at the point of sale, letting them know there's a possibility for either the policy to be issued standard, the policy to be rated or modified, or the policy to be declined, right?
Okay.
So those three things have to be talked about when it comes to the what comes next form and putting the expectation of that taking place.
Right. So it's not that you don't submit. Do you all understand that? It's not that you don't submit. It's what Rich is saying is you have to be able to solidify the sale and let them know of here's what could potentially happen. We see this all the time. No need to panic or worry. But in the event that A, B, C happens, here's the scenarios that could happen, which Rich is going to go over later. All right. Is that going to be a problem? I mean, don't worry. We can come back and modify if we need to modify, but I just wanted to give you a heads up. So what we're saying is don't not submit it. Just solidify it. Does that make sense? Prepare somebody for it. So yeah. All right, Rich, looks like you're back.
Okay, there we go. So I'm back here in the CE3 application. I want to take you guys to the resource. So I know that I told you guys the agent's instruction guide was available to you on the quality tab, but if you go to agent resources, all right, you will see that it's also available for you on here as well. Okay, there's the underwriting guidelines as well. So if I go ahead and click on the underwriting guidelines, this will give us some examples in terms of the auto declines that take place. The medical history guide is also here, right? So I want to go ahead and just stop here for a second and look at, let's just say, blood pressure. So if I answered yes to the blood pressure question, I don't know if it's 17, B or C there, or even possibly D, we'll look at that in a second. But if they answered yes to that question, the underwriter is going to ask for more information regarding the readings right here, right? The date of that initial elevation, so whenever they got diagnosed for high blood pressure, the nature of the treatment, meaning are they on any kind of diet restrictions or are they taking medication? If so, what does that routine look like? Are they taking medication 3 times a day? How many milligrams? And what's the actual name of the medication? And who is the prescribing doctor? So the more information you can give the underwriter, the better that's going to be. because as you see here to the far right-hand side, that policy, if that person gives us decent information with blood pressure readings for the past 2 years, best case scenario there, in most cases, the policy could either be rated ALX, if not under control for 12 months, right? If it's under control for 12 months, standard issue whole life policy, right? If it's not, best case scenario there, probably be a rated ALX policy or an ALX. So again, this is something that you can go ahead and pivot to once they answer yes. You can review this to see what other information you might need to go ahead and give the underwriters. So I always look at it this way. If there's a yes answer, I should always have the who, what, where, why, when, right? Who's diagnosed, by which doctor, what's the medication look like, the frequency. Pretty much just give as much detail as possible when there's a yes answer. The more details, the better. The one thing I want to caution you on is don't let it be an opinionated answer. For instance, blood pressure. My blood pressure is under control. What does that mean? As an underwriter, if I was an underwriter, I would not know what that means. Does that mean that it's at 180 over 200 or 180 over 100? That's under control with medication probably, but that's not what the underwriter is looking for. The underwriter is looking for specifics. I'm taking, lisinoprol 80 milligrams for 3 times a day, right? Whatever the case might be. Okay, those are a specific answer. Or my blood pressure was 120 over 70, right? And that's the last blood pressure I had was at the doctor's office on April 1st, whatever, okay? That gives us more information than my blood pressure is under control. So the more information, the better, okay? All right, so it's going to give you some guidance there. Other things here, the height and weight chart's also here as well. So very quick reference, you don't have to carry it around with you because you just go ahead and click on the button. That'll give you the height and weight chart. There's also a juvenile height and weight chart for children, okay, under 4'8", so from ages 0 to 15. If they're over 4'8" or over 56 inches, you'll use the adult build chart at that point. Okay, I know it's a lot of information, and again, guys, we'll go through, as much as we can within the time frame allowed. All right, they'll give you information about ALX policies as to what should be an ALX, and we'll go through this also. All right, so there's a lot of ALX only conditions. So if I look at diabetes, what should be an ALX for diabetes? Anybody who's got diabetes and kidney disease would be an ALX policy. Okay, let's talk about what an ALX policy is. I'm sure you hear this term, and if you're not familiar with it, you don't know what I'm talking about. So an ALX policy is a modified policy, right? And what that does is in the first 3 years, if that person dies, it is a return of premium benefit plus 10%. If they die in the first 3 years, they get a return of premium. So let's say they pay $1,000 a year and they died year number 1, they'll get, the beneficiary would get $1,000 plus 10%, so $1,100, right? If they died in year 4, they get the full coverage amount benefit that they applied for there. All right, so the one thing to realize here is if they have health conditions, typically they probably wouldn't be getting a policy elsewhere. So I don't know about you, but I don't know which bank has 10% returns. None right now that I can think of. So even at the worst case scenario, getting your money back plus 10%, that helps you in some way versus no way. Does that make sense, guys?
No doubt about that. No doubt about it. And that's when you as a salesperson have to have the professionalism to be stern and let them know, look, if they say to you, well, I want to think about it, I don't think they understand you. There's nothing to think about. You have no option. If you love your family and you want them protected, this is your last stop, brother. Now, that's not on the script, but that's I'm telling you, that's your last stop. You don't have an option. You can't go and get a super duper excellent elite preferred thing that you see on, at 2 o'clock in the morning on getalifeinsurancequote.com, $500,000 for $18 a month. Yeah, that's 1% of the nation getting that. That don't exist. That don't exist. So you get somebody that leans on this, say, well, it's expensive. Yeah, it's expensive. You're lucky you're even being entertained. Do you understand that? I wish I could buy leads where I knew people were uninsurable that have this option. Oh, there's a little nugget.
Yeah.
There's a little nugget. If I have good rapport with someone, you know what I mean? Like guys, there's a good segment of the population that falls in this ALX. There aren't many companies that provide this type of coverage. I got it. It may only be $7,000. And to Rich's point, God forbid something happens in the first 3 years. I think the company's doing a pretty good thing. They're giving all your money back plus 10%. Like I think that's a pretty good situation, other than the person unfortunately losing their life. The first day of the 4th year, you're now live, and God forbid something happens, that death benefit kicks in. So does that make sense, everyone? So, you know, again, this is one of those posturing professional conversations where you need to stand up tall, kick your chest out a little bit, and be proud of the fact that you're able to help someone in a very dire situation. Understand that you're going to be better off as a result of you speaking with me today. And that's the confidence you got to have when you make that call every day. Okay? Cool.
Hey, Chris.
Yes.
If you guaranteed me a 10% increase on money invested, I'd take it every day.
Oh yeah, if you're a financial planner, you'd have
Right.
people lined up around your block.
That's right.
But because you're marketed as life insurance, all of a sudden, whoa. It's
Yeah, it
just
scares people. It scares you off.
right. It's perspective. It's perspective. All right. Just don't use the script I told you. This is the locker room. So I told you kind of a Chicago version there, but I have used that in the past. But I was running leads in Chicago then, so I could do it. Mallory, it may work in Chicago. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. The other part of this, guys, too, is, you know, if they die in those first 3 years, statistically speaking, I think I read it somewhere in the U.S. government website that typically if they die in those first 3 years, it's because anyone under 55 dies from an accident. And an accident in this case, if they died of an accident in the first 3 years, they get the full benefit amount. So they don't get the 10% and their money back. They get the full death amount if they died of an accident. So imagine that if you're 55 or under and you died of an accident with this policy, you get the full face value, not the return of premium plus 10%. That is a huge pivot when you're in the home or when you're doing virtual sales, right? Because if this person doesn't like that policy about returning 10%, then if you were the chances of you dying of an accident, in terms of the stats, they are pretty significant. So this would be another reason why you should do this policy, to Chris's point. All right. Okay. All right. So that's just some resources for you. I think those are good things, all good things for you. Let me go ahead and jump into an application here. Let me just go ahead and show you how I would go ahead and fill this out. Let's pretend I am the applicant. So I will go ahead and fill out my information.
Rich, would it help if you, I mean, do you want to role play the app running it through me, or are you just going to kind of roll through this yourself?
I want to just get to the health questions, if you don't
Okay.
mind, just so I can give them some guidance about that.
Okay.
And we can do that another time. So I think we're going to cut it short on the questions.
That's okay. They'll be able to jump at 4:30, 4 o'clock, and we can address further questions on that end as well. We're writing all of them down, so we'll do the best to address them.
Great. And guys, you know, you have the ability to go into test mode on this thing also. So if you're not familiar with the application process here and how to do this, guys, you can go into test mode and play around with this and see what other things what you need in here when the information pops up. So, you know, I don't want you to spend too much time on what I'm doing right now, but you can play around with this thing in test mode and not break it, right? So again, I'm putting in just information here, basic here, height, weight, gender, right? My address, Main Street. All right, let's just say it's Lamont, Illinois.
Let's
Small
go.
town.
Old school, baby.
What's that?
Lamont, let's go.
That's right. rw@yahoo.com. Yahoo.com. 630-55555. Preferred number, cell, best time to call. All right. Give me text messages, sure, please. Employer, Globe Life, Director. Okay. Again, that's the basic information. We're just going to do a basic A250, all right? Life policy here on A250. And applicant is me. Marital status is single, non-tobacco user. Again, driver's license number, the state of the license, birthplace, Illinois. Again, if I wanted to do a trial application, I would click right here if I knew right off the bat that there was a reason for me to trial the application. So I can click on here and it'd be a trial application if it was due to, you know, any kind of health conditions or if they're overweight, things of that nature. You can always go back to that if you need to as well. I'm going to skip over that and let's just choose a whole life policy. So here's where the option where you have to do an ALX if you knew that ahead of time. Okay, let me just choose a whole life policy for just do 30,000 with waiver of premium and ADB. 50,000. Okay. Next.
Guys, just a little sales tip there. If they qualify, in my opinion, we're doing a disservice to our clients if we're not throwing that waiver of premium on there.
Yes.
We really are. I mean, it's for the amount, for what it costs. I mean, obviously, you know, so long as it fits in the needs analysis based on their income, right? Don't oversell. To me, you know, I think we're doing everybody, if we're not adding that in there, that's a tremendous value on there.
So now we're at the health questions, guys. Obviously, you know, getting through this, is a proposed United States citizen? Yes, I am. Has proposed ever been rejected for life insurance or rated or failed to receive a policy applied for? No. Again, if I was to have yes to high blood pressure, chest pain, heart attack, stroke, or any heart or circulatory disorder, I'll click on yes. Okay. Again, this pops up for you, so that way you know, should you pivot to an ALX or not, right? I'm the person who's got the high blood pressure, HBP diagnosed, let's just say April 1st, 2019, hospitalization, no. Okay. Dr. Smith, whatever the phone number is. I can always add in more information here, so if I want to go ahead and add in what my medication is, I can say taking lisinoprol, 50 milligrams 3 times a day, right? The more information you guys give, the better that is, right? So again, this is where the opinionated answer versus the factual answer comes into play. Don't just put blood pressure control.
The other value in doing field underwriting and doing getting as much information as you possibly can is with advancements, right? Like don't we pay a different way once we get the policy issued?
Yes, the rest of it goes into your commission account balance. The remainder, yep.
So say that again.
So the remainder from your advance, so you get, you know, let's just say whole life policy is 60%. In terms of your advance, the other 40% then will go into your commission account balance as a positive once the policy gets issued.
So
let's just say $1,000, you know, the person paying $1,000, 600 of it gets advanced to you. The other 40%, the other 400 doesn't get into your commission account balance until the policy gets issued.
So if we're a little selfish here and we're a little, you know, we've got our business hat on, right? It's not just about, well, you know, home office is asking for A, B, C, D. There's actually financial incentive to making sure that we get become ninjas and black belts when it comes to underwriting in the field. There's actually financial payoff there as well. So just keep that in mind.
Yep.
I think people forget sometimes.
Yeah, you want to maximize that commission account balance. Obviously, get it as positive as possible. At 3,000, 4,000, and 5,000, you have different draw rates, which again is extra income for you. So again, not to be selfish, we are trying to make a living here, right? That would make the whole purpose of what we do, help people and get paid for it, right? So at the end of the day, do it the right way. You know, make sure you add all the information you can, so when the policy is issued as soon as possible. And then we're not going back and you're not being unprofessional to the applicant at that point. Because if I just put in high blood pressure is under control, underwriters come back saying we need more information, what do you have to go with that and do? You have to go back to the applicant, right, and contact them to get more information, and that looks unprofessional on your part. So again, being a ninja at this, as to Chris's point, and being as informed as you can with as much education as you can will help you in this process.
Sean Posado said they've been told to not type out HBP, but to actually type out high blood pressure. Can you comment on that? Listen, we may go 10 minutes longer, so it is what it is. This is important.
Yeah, I'm just doing it for illustration purposes, just save on time, obviously, to write out HBP, but yeah, go ahead and give them more information. So type in high blood pressure, because HBP in the medical field might stand for something else.
Okay, there you go, Sean.
Sorry.
Pointing it out.
Sorry about that. Good question, though. Great question. So again, moving down the line here in terms of the question, guys, read everything verbatim. Okay, don't leave it to chance. Don't just assume that the questions are no, because they're live and breathing. Ask the questions verbatim and get as much information as you can on all the health questions up front. Okay, so for illustration purposes, I'm going to answer no to the rest of these. So I get down to something else as well. All right, has proposed in the last 5 years had a physical. I'm going to say yes. Put in the doctor information again. Explanation. Yearly checkup. Okay. No. Obviously, you know, we're just doing this as a illustration, so don't worry about me missing some stuff here. You would still fill in all the information accordingly. Okay. Has any medical treatment, including prescription medications? So if they are on any kind of medications in the last 5 years, as it states here, make sure you mark yes. If that was the case, make sure you, again, put down the dosage, frequency, all those good things. Make sure you spell it correctly. If you don't know what it is, if you've never heard it before, I would look it up on Google. And because if it should be a yes answer to something else, you know, how could they have medication if they're not answering yes to any of these questions? So if you have medications, typically one of these questions would be answered yes to. Okay, so again, be mindful of that. Okay, all right. Has the person ever received disability? Okay, all right. Going on to the other side of the page, free for AA, narcotics, marijuana, arrested, none of those things. Here's a very important one here, guys. Does the proposed insured smoke cigarettes, use any tobacco, and any other forms? I'm going to put no, because I don't. And I'll show you why, what we have to do here after this. Automatic loan provision, obviously go ahead and discuss that with them as to why that you'd want to do that, because if they miss a premium, we'll use their cash value to pay their premiums as a loan, right, so they don't lose their coverage. All right. Not intended to replace any insurance, and because I'm not having any coverage above $100,000, it's not prompting me to click these questions. Okay. Pretty basic stuff. All right. So when you're taking a virtual app, guys, and you're not obviously getting the barcode, you make sure you type in virtual, right? That way the underwriter knows that this was done virtually. Okay. Give them as much information as possible. So type in virtual here. That way they know not to expect an oral barcode here. All right. Does that make sense, everybody? Because I got a lot of questions in the field on this one in the past, like 2 weeks or so. Okay. Physician's name, again, this gives me all this information. I can go ahead and put this all in here. Say Dr. Chen, 555 Fake Street, right? Lamont, Illinois. Again, current doctor information is so critical right here, guys, because obviously if we have to pull medical records for the underwriter, we need their most current doctor with those records. Don't give us a doctor from 20 years ago, because that's not going to be their current information. A doctor with their current medical records, all right? Okay, I personally saw. I'm not applying for anything else. I'm not intending for replacing their insurance, all right? Post-insurance, life insurance, proceed, yes, okay. Oh, no, I'm sorry, no, okay. Do you have any reason to believe that this person's lying to you? No. Okay. Nope. Okay. Here's where you'd add in the banking account information, guys. Here's a critical part. We'll probably stop here for some questions here, but when you're adding on the bank account information, okay, one thing I want to show you here is when you're putting in the routing number and account number, what I see a lot of times in the field is somebody will put in the routing number 071000013, and they'll copy and paste it. And guys, think about this. If I do that, what's going to happen is, what you have to do is you type it in, because what happens is it's hard to type it in wrong twice, right? Obviously, if you put it in and it's incorrect, I'll do it on purpose just to show you. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Click on save. It could tell me that the routing number does not match. So I do this one on purpose wrong, so it tells me that the routing number does not match. So make sure that you put in the number in correctly, because obviously in order for a contract to be legal and binding, guys, 3 things have to take place. The verbiage of the policy, meaning the actual contract itself, what they're covered for, things of that nature, signatures, and the third one is money. So you have verbiage of the policy itself, signatures being yourself as well as the client, as well as money. So in order for a contract to be legal and binding, those 3 things have to take place. And obviously we need to go ahead and draft their account in order for that third part to be there. Okay? All right. I'm going to exit out of this and just go back
Rich,
to the, yes, sir.
this is a very important solidification part of the transaction. So,
Of course.
you know, keep your tone low and slow. And if you don't make this part important, they won't make this part important. So how you say is as important as what you say. It's almost like, I don't know if you've ever had your mom or dad or somebody important in your life where you know it's a serious comment. Have you guys ever experienced that? You know, virtual thumbs up. It's almost like, hey, Rich, we're going to be able to provide a no-cost $3,000 worth of benefit to you and your family. Isn't that great?
It's wonderful.
$3,000. Isn't that great? Versus, hey, Rich, we're going to be able to buy you $3,000 of coverage today. Isn't that great? Do you feel the difference?
Of course.
Rich, did you know how fast you were going in that school zone? Sir, did you know how fast you're going in that school zone? How you say is as important as what you say. It sounds crazy. But those are the semantics that we as professionals need to hammer down on. Now, is that going to put you at a 99% retention rate? No. 1% here, 1% there, tick here, tick there, uptick, uptick, little, right? But make it important. Now, Rich, in order for our company to legally bind this contract and this important step that you've taken for your family today, it's critical that we make sure that we enter the correct routing and routing number and checking account numbers. That makes sense?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
Got it. Boom, you're into it. So don't rush to this part, you guys. Don't rush to it. You know, it's so much of this. If they respect your professionalism and they're truly buying on a needs-based, they're truly buying needs-based and not emotion-based. You're no different than an accountant. You're no different than a financial planner. You're no different than a police officer. You're no different than you're no different. You're important. What you're doing is very important. They need to understand that. And so, Rich, I make this comment because, in my opinion, I think sometimes this part of the application process becomes very transactional, whereas I truly believe this is the part that needs to be a little bit more transformational. This is where I become a little bit more of your buddy.
Yep.
Okay. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm trying to give you subject coaching. Rich is giving you object coaching, if that makes any sense. Trying to give you a compressed version here. Go ahead. Thank you.
Yep. How are we looking at time, Chris?
Time?
Yep.
Keep going, man.
Keep going. All right.
Yeah,
Good.
they'll be fine. Yeah, they can call till 9 o'clock tonight. They love their families so much. They said they're going to call till 8:59 p.m. tonight.
Wonderful. And I believe that. Guys, I want to go over some applications as well, give you some hints and some guidelines here about what a bad application would look like. So all the applications I'm about to go over were submitted standard. All right. Every application here that I'm about to go over was either rated to modified life and ALX policy, or there was a COD and they couldn't place it. So just to give you some scope here, this first one, I know you don't have the actual application in front of you, so I can give you the overview on this. But a 39-year-old with yes answers to 17A and 17D, you'd expect them to be on prescription drugs at that point. In the notes, the proposed insured has thrombotic thrombotic purpura. I don't know what that is, but if an agent is unfamiliar with that condition, Google it. And what comes up here, guys, is it's a rare blood disorder, right? In TTP, blood clots form in a small blood vessel throughout the body. The clots can limit or block the flow of oxygen-rich blood to the body's organs, pretty essential, such as the brain, kidneys, and heart. As a result, serious health problems can develop. So if I didn't know what this was, it's obviously not a question in terms of TTP on the actual A250, but obviously they have something to do with their heart here, right, and some kind of blood disorder. So this shouldn't have been a regular standard whole life policy. It should have been ALX or trial. All right. The second one here, person who's disabled.
Rich, we're still on your test app. We're still on your bank account.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. I apologize. Let me exit out of that screen.
We were just testing the audience to see if they're paying attention.
Yes,
They
exactly. I'm glad. Let's close that there. Everybody see my screen now?
Nope.
Nope. Oh, sorry about that.
I see Jimmy Fredo.
How about now?
Double click to enter full screen. Yep, we good.
Good there?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry about that, guys.
Okay.
In that first TTP example, so again, if someone answers yes to 17A or 17D, again, asking for more information, they should have had prescription drugs there. The second application, a person disabled. Disabled applicants are rarely approved for whole life. Applicants are almost always are an ALX. So this person took 3 application medications for pain for his back injury. So that should have been a key sign that we should have had this person has an ALX, not a whole life standard policy. The third one here, a 66-year-old for a large whole life premium with yes answers to 17A, E, and 19C. There was poor notes on the yes answers. The person was hospitalized less than a year ago for 7 days. At this age, the proposed insured is guaranteed to complete a paramedical exam because of the amount of insurance they're applying for. And again, that you can see on the underwriting requirements chart. So, but again, these are examples that, are actual real life examples that people turn in for applications that someone didn't review. So for QMs, guys, if you're QM, making sure you're reviewing these accordingly. Here's another one here. A 73-year-old applying for whole life, takes no medications and has not had a physical in the last 5 years. Doesn't have a driver's license either. I don't know how many people that you know who are 73 and perfectly healthy, right? Number 5, how is an unemployed person going to pay $99 a month? So here's an unemployed applicant who's trying to get $99 of insurance a month in terms of their premium. How are they going to pay for that would be my question. The last one there, 62-year-old with yes answers to 16. 16, if you remember, was the question regarding that they've been rejected for insurance somewhere else. So what makes you think that we're going to give them a standard policy with Liberty if they've been rejected somewhere else? Add in that they had high blood pressure, had been hospitalized, and they take 4 medications daily. So these are just some examples for you to review, and so you understand the scope as to what an underwriter is looking for, right? And their thought process behind that. So it's just common sense stuff, guys. But again, I know we're so excited about the sales. Sometimes we oversee these things and just the rationale behind it. All right. Again, we talk about auto decline conditions, guys, such as terminal illness, Lou Gehrig's disease, also known as ALS, HIV or AIDS, having Alzheimer's or senile dementia, being confined to a hospital or nursing facility, the use of illegal drugs within a 2-year period, or being confined to jail are all automatic decline conditions. Okay.
Hey, Rich.
Yes, sir.
Over $300,000, I believe we're still going to schedule medical exams, right?
Correct.
So yeah, over $300,000. And that list is on IMVP University. That list is at IMVP University. It'll tell you the amount, anything over 300,000. Yes, we are going to issue a paramedic. Okay, go ahead.
We talked about some of these ALS only conditions. Again, there's a long list of them here, but I'm just giving you the basics. So again, anybody who has, more than one stroke, a stroke in the last 12 months, you would not submit them as an application for standard issue policy. It should be considered as an ALX. Okay. Again, these are people with serious conditions that probably won't get issued somewhere else. So this is not a bad application to go ahead and write. But again, the expectation and letting them know how this works is what sells this policy. Okay. Again, habits, another one with habits here. Driving under the influence with DUI in the last 12 months or multiple DUIs, currently on probation or parole, having any alcohol or drug treatment and clean and dry less than 3 years. Again, not only their health, but also their habits. We talked about having a lead foot and driving around like Mario Andretti. Again, those are some habits that might be susceptible to having somebody get issued as ALX also. Okay. This last part, to Chris's point, is the most crucial, in my opinion, when it comes to tying things in. So along with the summary sheet, the summary sheet and the what comes next form are kind of like your two glue pieces to the whole puzzle, right? Yeah. If I'm an agent, I know I believe that I did my job correctly if I do three things that the applicant's aware of. If they understand who bought insurance, how much they're covered for, and how much does it cost. That's available to you on the summary sheet, right? Who are the applicants, what is the coverage, and what does it cost, right? The what comes next form is the additional piece where you're talking about the expectations of what's to come next, hence why it's called the what comes next form, right? So again, talking about the possibility that in the next 2 to 4 weeks, you might have some more additional underwriting requirements that take place, such as a quality assurance call, a QAC call from our quality assurance department. They're going to have additional questions by an underwriter, or possibly the nurse or doctor coming out to see them regarding a paramedical exam where they pull blood or urine. Again, it's at no cost to them. But I set the expectation ahead of time, right? I let them know ahead of time of the possibility of this taking place, or that they might be in one way, shape, or form applied for or issued as applied for. That'd be the next thing. It could be rated or modified or declined. I see a lot of CODs that if they don't get placed is because the expectation wasn't set properly, right? The what comes next form wasn't gone over in detail, letting them know there's a possibility of that taking place, especially when health conditions are disclosed to you up front, okay? The other part here is the cost, right at the bottom. The cost of your policy is blank per month. It'll be drafted out of your account on the blank day of the month. We will draft the first premium in the next couple of days. That is extremely important to make sure you voice that to the customer, because they have to understand how their money is being used, right? So if I were to tell you that we're going to draft $50 from your account in the next few days, but you take a week to upload it to the quality manager, well, I could have gone as the applicant and spent my money already at this point, right? So it's crucial that you do daily uploads, right? And if you're an agency owner on this call, make sure that you have a cutoff time, all right? So this doesn't take place, because you're going to hurt the applicant this way if we don't follow these guidelines, all right? And again, talking about the price, making sure it's affordable for them. The decision you have made to purchase insurance today is a wise one, but it's only a benefit to you and your family if it's their time of need. Are you comfortable with the cost and coverage we discussed today, right? Because I know I use the summary sheet a little bit differently as well in terms of talking about which plan do they like best, right? Again, getting them engaged in that thought process, because again, this is something that this is just a blanket of protection. There is no umbrella that follows you around saying that you're covered, right? You have a person behind you saying you have a life insurance policy when you walk across the street. So it's so important to get these key points in. Okay, guys? Chris, any questions on the what comes next form of summary sheet that you're getting?
Do you have the summary sheet up, and then we'll land the plane here in 5 minutes or less?
I exited out of the summary sheet, unfortunately, already in my app.
Okay, the summary sheet is on, again, all this is at IMVP University. and we've covered this summary sheet. Omar actually has a recording on how to do it. There's a section on the summary sheet that says, what do you like best about that, about the program? So Rich, 2-minute role play. So what do you like best about the program so far, Rich? Is it the final expense, the mortgage protection, the college education, or the income protection? Which do you like the best?
I like the final expense plan.
Okay, so now I'm going to type in here, I like the final expense part. Okay, why?
I know that if when I die, that my family's covered for my burial at least.
Huh?
That when I pass away, my family's covered for my burial financially.
Right. So you see what I did there? What did you like? Number one, what did you like best about the program? Why do you like it? And then just a little trade secret, huh? Have you guys ever used a huh yet? Are you guys using that out there? Huh? No, not yet? All right. So that piece is crucial because if something changes and you get something back where it lapses, here's the call. Here's how the call goes. Ring, ring. Can I talk to Rich?
Yes, this is Rich.
Hey, Rich, this is Chris Seligen calling you from Globe Life Liberty National, your insurance agent. How are you?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing well. Thanks for asking, brother. Listen, I'm calling because I've noticed your policy has gone inactive. Were you aware of that?
I was not.
You weren't. Okay. What caused it to go inactive? Was it something on the bank's end or something that we did wrong?
You know, I tried getting a hold of one of the agents, but they never called me back. So I kind of like.
Oh, you called me?
I thought,
I'm sorry. I didn't get a call from you. I'm sorry. Did you call? Oh, you probably called the office and not me.
I did. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Did you switch jobs or what happened?
Well, you know, I tried just having some more information about the policy itself. I, forgot about some stuff and I had some general questions, but I couldn't get an answer.
Do you have access to your folder or the email that I sent you? Do you remember that? Do you have access to that paperwork?
Let me go ahead and get it pulled out for me. Give me 1 second.
Great. Do you see that summary sheet?
Yes.
Can you read to me what when it says what you wrote? You told me that. Do you remember what you told me?
I wrote down here that I like the final expense plan the best because it protects my family for burial purposes.
So got it. So you said that, right?
Yes. Yes, I
Got
did.
it. Okay, cool. So has that changed?
No, of course not.
Okay. So is it the need is the price is the issue, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I thought about it afterwards, a little bit. I think maybe it's a little bit too much for me at this time.
No problem. I'll tell you what I can do for you. We'll set up a 15-minute meeting with just you. You married in the last 3 months?
Yes, I have.
Oh, you did? Because I didn't get an invitation. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. All right, look, we'll set up a call with you and your wife. I've got a 7:15 and an 8:15. I work in blocks of 15 minutes, and we'll go ahead and reassess your needs and make sure that we fit that in your budget. Fair enough?
That sounds good.
Guys, that's all. Hold them hostage. Hold them hostage to what they said what they told you was important. You said final expense was important. You said that, not me. You said that. What changed? It's always price. Who doesn't want more square feet for the same amount of price? Who doesn't want a leather package in the car with the same amount of price? It's always the price. Was it something with the bank or was it something we did wrong? I don't say it's their fault. Rich, is it your fault or my fault? Don't do that. And that's why that summary sheet is so important to buttoning it up. All right, go ahead and unshare the screen, Rich.
Sounds good.
Guys, we've got probably about 19 good questions that has been asked on this. Due to time constraints, there's no way we're going to be able to effectively and appropriately answer each one of those questions. So I've on chat, I've placed Rich's email. So I'm sorry for that, Rich, but you're probably going to get 100 emails, but I know that you love it. And for those of you that can get on the 4 o'clock call, I would recommend you do, and we'll get Rich to just answer questions and we can role play the way that we did. But guys, don't be intimidated. Don't be scared. So long as you have your 10 presentations per week and you're educated on how to properly field underwrite, you're going to be fine. Don't panic on that. And if you've got a question, and you get one of us on the phone, get your trainer on the phone, get Rich on the phone, get your director on the phone, get your VP on the phone. You're not in this thing alone. All right. The main purpose of this today was to just educate you 1% more before coming in. You're not going to understand everything we covered today. You just won't. If you implement 1% more, and you're going to be perfectly fine. Okay. We appreciate all that you guys do. Stay safe out there. Thanks for joining on. Rich, killer job, man. You dropped some serious fire today. Appreciate all that you do, man. Guys, let's take it to the next gear. Let's work hard for our families. Let's work hard for our communities that we serve today. And we'll continue the success that we've been having, okay? Appreciate all that you guys do. See you all at the top. Bye.
Thank you, guys.